Hi, friends. Welcome back to Budgeting Over 40. I'm Melissa, and we are midway through paycheck number 2 of October. So let's do a quick check in. So, all right, friends, we are here on the monthly budget calendar for October. A lot of our bills have already been paid, or most of them, I should say, maybe 98% of them has already been paid. So, we're just going to go in and check off what needs to be checked off before we talk about how the money has been spent so far. Before I get into the video, you guys, I do want to tell you guys thank you so much for your outpour of support. Thank you for your prayers and your thoughts for my family and friends that are currently in Jamaica withstanding all the wins and everything that Melissa, of all the names you guys they could choose, they chose to say Melissa. So I do want to tell you guys, my family and friends, they are doing well. There's a lot of loss, but not loss of life. And once they have life, all the material objects and stuff can be replaced. So I'm very happy that they're all doing well. And I do appreciate you guys for reaching out and continue to pray for them, continue to pray for us, hoping that, things can be rebuilt. But once they have life, we can figure it out from here on out. So thank you guys so much, and I appreciate you. Let's get back to the video. So child support, I was supposed to send one payment on the 10th. I didn't get to send it, but it was sent out yesterday after hubby sent over money to pay the rest of the bills for the month of October and to start out with the bills in the month of November. So I can strike that off. Also, I was able to pay after school and braces. I'm going to strike those off. I didn't pay these two after school just yet. I will be paying them before the month is through. But personal loan, car insurance, the next child support, my auto loan, iCloud storage, my Apple Card, and also the cell phone has been paid. So we're going to strike those off. The next thing that needs to come out, and I think this is the last bill other than the two after school bills that I will be paying by the end of the month, is the internet. And the internet is an automatic payment that's going to come out of my bank account. Now, another thing that I did find out in the month of, or in this month, is that my cell phone is not going to be able to be paid using my Apple Card anymore. Now, it's lovely because I do get a hefty amount of cash back when I do use my card, but I do have a $25 discount if I pay using my debit card or my bank account. And I have been using my Apple Card. That one is going away. So I think I have messed myself up because I was already signed up for auto pay. I don't know what it's going to look like in the month of November. I will let you guys know. But if I lose the discount, it will only be for 1 month and we'll start up again for the month of December because I did go ahead and use my Apple Card to pay it. And I think that's going to throw me off of the auto pay plan. You guys will hear about it. So that's it. That's all of the bills. What I actually need to look at right now as well is for the month of November, because in November, the paycheck period that we're in right now needs to go up until the 6th. Now, I did do the paycheck allocation for hubby's income yesterday. I posted that video. So if you haven't seen it, take a look. I will have it linked in the cards or the description. That paycheck is going to take care of the rent, electric, student loan, not necessarily the after school. I don't think it's going to make it for this one, but I forgot to put in Raymore and Flanagan. So I'm going to have to move some money around to be able to take care of this one. If it's not going to be able to take care of that, I can take some money from what I have set aside in other categories because I did set some money aside for groceries, household, and dining out, also for gas. But I don't know if I'm going to have to or if I'm going to need to use those. So that's where some flexibility will fall when it comes to finding money to put to this Raymore and Flanagan. Now, when I got paid in the month of October, that last paycheck, I did get it on the 22nd, which was 2 days before my paycheck. And I'm hoping I can get it 2 days before for this paycheck in November. Because if I do, this Raymore and Flanagan will come out of that paycheck. So I hope that makes sense. Now let's jump over to the transaction log and we're just going to talk about how we've spent the money so far. I did get my paycheck on the 22nd in the amount of $2,483.77. I also got a payout from Ko-Fi for $6.04. So thank you guys so much for purchasing my spreadsheet. I do appreciate it. My Geico car insurance was paid for $251.80. Then I made my auto loan payment for $939.23. I did go grocery shopping. This is something that I told you guys that I had to do. So Gala Fresh for $58.46. I did buy gas for the car for $78. I went to BJ's. I did some bulk shop. I kind of went overboard because I did see some things that the kids like and I did purchase it. So household consumable was $28 and food, which is groceries, was $131.84. That day, I also went to ShopRite. This was where I did the bulk shop for, or the most food products was purchased at ShopRite. $257 in food items and $44.46 in household consumable. So I did purchase my laundry products at ShopRite because they were on sale and they were a better price than what I saw at BJ's. So that was good. I was able to save some money there. Then on the 23rd, I won a giveaway from Tara over at Journey to Wisdom and Wealth. I did speak about that on hubby's paycheck allocation. So thanks again, Tara. You could see here, I still can't believe that I actually won a giveaway because I never usually win. I do participate in a lot of giveaways because I watch a lot of channels, but this time I actually did win $20 and this came in handy, right on time, handy, handy, handy. So when I did the paycheck allocation for this pay period, I did say I was a little bit short for the money to get my son's haircut, and this $20, that's where it went. So thanks, Tara. So moving on the 24th, I went to the bagel shop for breakfast at work for $5. Then you can see here, Capital One annual fee. This is in yellow because I got a refund. So you guys, oh my gosh, I need to say a big old thank you to Amanda. She's a supporter and viewer, subscriber of my channel. So when I spoke about my overview for my 2026 budget, she suggested that I reached out to Capital One about the annual fee that I have to pay. Now, I didn't hesitate. I went ahead and I called Capital One and I asked them what needed to be done to get rid of the annual fee that I was paying. Now, this card is about 10 years old, and I have been paying the $39 for the 10 years. It was a Capital One Quicksilver One card. Now, I do have two Capital One cards. One's a Quicksilver and one's a Quicksilver One. The Quicksilver doesn't have an annual fee. Now, what they told me I could upgrade, not downgrade like Amanda thought it was going to happen, but I could upgrade to the Quicksilver card where there was no annual fee. And I was like, oh, yeah, thank you so much. So I told them, yes, go ahead and upgrade it to that. And also, I did not lose my cashback incentive. So I do get 1.5% cashback on all purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver One and the Quicksilver card as well. So that was a plus. And then the next day, you guys, I saw a credit of $13 onto my Capital One number two card. I was like, wait a minute. So they credited me $13 out of the $39 that I paid in January of this year for the annual fee. So that was a huge plus, and I would have never thought about it. So thanks again, Amanda, for the suggestion. I appreciate that. I so appreciate it. All right, so let's move on. I did go on Amazon and order Halloween costumes for my littles. My little girl wants to be a mermaid, and my son decided he wants to be a 90s hip hop rapper. I was like, okay. So Halloween costumes for my littles for $37.59. And then I did an inflow from the business. This is something that happens every pay period. I did inflow $300 in. Like I mentioned all the time, the expense is $296.02. So $3.98 always stays over in my operating account. Next, I paid for my iCloud storage for Apple for $9.99. Bagel Shop again on the 26th for breakfast at work for $14. Then I took my son to go get his haircut at the barber shop for $30, and I did tip the barber $5. Then on the 27th, I went to CVS. I picked up snacks for the kids for $3. Using my coupons, I was able to get it down to 3. I did pick up some personal products for $13.38, and I did buy heating pads for hubby because he did strain his back. He is currently at the chiropractor getting it looked at. So hopefully he can have that sorted out. But anyway, I did have to bring something back to CVS because he said that it wasn't working or it wasn't going to work for him. So I did get a refund of $31.86. So I'm going to take it out of this $47.33 because the return did go back onto my Apple Card. So that's going to bring the price or the expense down to $15.47. On the 27th, I also paid my cell phone bill to T-Mobile for $274.24. Then on Erin Condren, this is something that I did tell you guys that I was going to speak about when I go over the transactions. So when I got that $13 credit back onto my Capital One number two card, it goes back into the budget or into my plan on YNAB. Now I'm sitting there with $13, and because it is on my card, I was like, how am I going to spend it? Now I can move the 31, I can just move the $13 in YNAB and it doesn't affect anything. But when I looked at it, I was like, how am I gonna spend this money? So what I ended up doing was going onto Erin Condren because they did send me, it was a flash sale that they were having. I needed a new pocket planner for 2026 because I do plan my day-to-day stuff in my pocket planner. So I went on their website. I was able to purchase the pocket planner. This is the expense here for $20.13. When I looked on there after purchasing the pocket planner or during the purchase, I realized that I had some rewards that were going to expire. So there was two $10 rewards. I couldn't stack them with the rewards that I was getting from the 20% off because they were having that flash sale. I think it's still going on for another 2 days. But anyway, I couldn't stack the coupons, so I had to do two different purchases. So the pocket planner ended up costing $20.13. With shipping, they do charge $7.95 in shipping charges because they ship using FedEx. And I also saw a sticker book that I wanted from them to use the other coupon, but I ended up paying $14.31 because of the shipping. So I wish that I could have put these two orders together just to pay one shipping charge, but they wouldn't let me stack the coupons. At the end of it, I don't know if it was worth it doing two separate orders, but I ended up doing it. So 1431 was the second order. So these two together is going to be, let's see, the two of them together is going to be $34.44, but I'm only going to pay back to my credit card $21.44 because this $13 credit is going to be subtracted from the amount that was charged to the card. So right now, what's showing on my Capital One number two card is the $21.44. So that was a plus for me. But you guys, right after placing the order, I did get an email from Erin Condren that I did my 100th order. And I was like, wait a minute. Now, before I got into posting on YouTube, I have been watching YouTube, the budget community, since 2018. And I did see a lot of people using Erin Condren, and I got to liking their products. I have made a lot of orders from Erin Condren since 2018, you guys. I don't purchase as much as I used to. When I looked at their website, the last time I bought anything was last November of 2024. But anyway, the reward that I got for placing my 100th order is getting a $100 coupon. Yes, you heard me right. A $100 coupon that I could spend on their website. Now, I don't need a planner. I don't need a folio, which is their A5. I use their A5 planner folio right now. I do printables in there, but I don't need a planner. I don't need anything else. I don't need any more stickers. I have a few stickers that I do use in the planners that I have, but I did see a backpack. It was a customizable backpack that I have seen on their website. That backpack was like $92. And I always said, yeah, no, I'm not going to buy that. But I need a new backpack for work. So I decided to use that credit or reward to purchase the backpack. So after shipping and everything else, it cost me $32.58 to purchase the backpack. Now, it wasn't the only thing that I threw into the order because the backpack was less than $100. I had to throw some other stuff in. I think I also throw in another sticker book or something like that. But anyway, $32.58 was what I spent to use that $100 reward credit that I had. Now, let me tell you, my guilty pleasure or the thing that I buy for myself is books. Any kind of journal, any kind of budget books, any kind of thing like that. I do digital budgeting, but I love to write things down. So I do use their journals. That is my guilty pleasure, you guys. I don't know what is wrong. If I go out and I see a book, I'm gonna buy it. And it's uncontrollable. I try to reel it in and I have been doing so much better, but that is the thing that I buy. I have so many journals, so many of them, and I do write in them. So that is something that I decided to do for myself. In total, I spent $67.02. Now, was it planned? No, but am I regretting the purchase? No, I am very happy with the purchase. So now let's move on. Hubby did transfer in $4,000. I have grouped it together. $3,000 he sent in first, and then the additional $1,000 after I spoke to him. So you guys have heard about that in his paycheck allocation that I did and post for you guys to see. Take a look. I will link it for you guys to watch if you haven't just yet. Now, because he did send in the money, I had to send money over to my older daughter in the amount of $526 for the child support. Now, you guys, I did ask you in one of my videos, when do I need to stop doing the child support and the consensus? And I did also look it up. Yes, it is 21 years old. So I still have a few years to send money over to her father to help to support her. So it's not mandated, but to pay 526, it's a deal. And he doesn't ask for much more. If my daughter does need additional money, I do. I'm the one who pay for her phone, and I do also help her out when I can. So that's it for the transactions. Oh no, one other thing that I need to put in, I need to put in the minimum payment for my Apple Card. So I did make the minimum payment for my Apple Card for $25, and we're going to put that there. So now let's move over into the paycheck budget spreadsheet and see how we're doing in comparison to what was budgeted. So here we are on the paycheck budget spreadsheet from the 22nd going up to November 6th. So you could see that we did bring in a lot more income than I have planned, because I did plan for hubby to send over $1,000, but he sent over 4,000. And yes, it's exciting that it came in the month of October, but this is to take care of most of our expenses, or a big part of our expenses in the month of November. So $6,483.77, $43.02 in miscellaneous income. So we're working with $6,526.79 so far. So we haven't paid the electric just yet, so we're waiting for that to be charged in the month of November. I'm not going to charge it in the month of October. The car insurance came in $251.80. One thing that I didn't put into the transaction log was the braces. Now, this was an overspending that I had to cover out of this paycheck. So I think what I'm going to do, just so it could show up here, I'm just going to insert it, because I did go ahead and put it on the credit card right away when the money came in. So I'm going to insert it here on the 22nd. I'm going to put it that it's a credit card payment, but I'm going to put it to the braces. And I did pay $221.62. So I really want this to show up on the paycheck budget spreadsheet to take it out of the income. So you could see here it pops in. That's what I paid to my Capital One number 2 card. iCloud $9.99, budgeted 10. Cell phone $275 was budgeted, $274.24 was charged, because I do budget using round numbers. Still waiting for the internet. I still need to pay some money to the after school. I sent the child support for $526. So we still have some stuff to pay. So you can see right now we're up to $1,283.65. I budgeted $1,615. Moving down into the debt section, I did pay my Apple Card for $25. The student loan is due to be paid in November, but the auto loan was paid for $939.23. So we are under right now at $964.23 because we budgeted $1,005. Nothing to savings, so let's skip on down to the variable expenses. This is my problem area. So you could see here that I did budget $80 for car expense. I spent $78. For food, I did budget 400 and we are over. We spent $469.30. Given, budgeted, and spent 5. Household consumable, you guys. Budgeted 50, but we're over. Spent $72.46. My babies, I budgeted $30, but we spent $67.59. Personal, I budgeted 25, spent $80.40. And wellness, I budgeted 25, but spent $15.47. So we are over budget right now, $788.22. Now that's it. We haven't spent anything in the miscellaneous section. You could see that we still have $3,490.69. But one thing that I need to throw in, because I didn't do this just yet, when I did my paycheck allocation, we did have a slight overspending. So the braces was an overspending, but because I threw it in here, I won't put it in the rollover. But I did have $10.58 in dining out that needed to be covered. And I also had 51 cents in groceries to be covered. So that's a total of $11.09. I'm going to put this in red because that is something that I needed to cover out of this paycheck. And I need to make myself a note. So I'm going to do 10.58 for groceries. No, that was for dining out. And the 51 cents was for groceries. Just so I remember, that's where this $11.09 negative rollover was coming from. It wasn't much. I was able to move money around to cover most of what we needed to cover, but that was what was left. So you guys, that's it for now. This $3,479.60 need to go over into the month of November. We are pretty close. We have 2 more days. 2 more days, you guys, in the month of October. So we need to hold on to this money. I don't have any need to go out and spend any money right now. So hopefully this will move over into November to get us going to start out the new month. So until next time, you guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye now.